Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today to talk about Redtail Speak. Today, I'm going to be walking you through all the features of our latest update of our compliant texting and internal messaging solution, Redtail Speak. As we walk through today, I'm going to give you a full overview of all the features, how to get started, how to send messages, how to talk internally, and all the great bells and whistles that we just added to the product. So thank you for joining, and let's get going. So when you first sign up for Redtail Speak, you're going to log in, and it's going to be looking like pretty much an empty database. And the first step that we need to do is we need to get a phone number. So with every Redtail Speak user, you're assigned a unique phone number. And you get to select this number, and we do that by going up to the top right corner and clicking on the icon and going to settings. Once you're in settings, it will default to phone number setup. Now we can select an area code, so you can pick an area code in the area that you live in so that it's a number that would resemble your existing numbers that you have. So you can type in a number, so I'm going to type in an area code here. And when you search, it'll bring up all the available numbers. And you can even refresh this list to give you some additional options. And you can keep refreshing till you find just the right number that you want. Then we'll go ahead and click on that number, and it'll give us a little green check mark. And then from there, we'll scroll down to the bottom of the page and hit next. And now you'll be presented with the number that you selected. We can look at this number, make sure it's the one that we want to do, because one thing that's important to know is that once we select this number, we're not able to change it. So be sure that you like this number, and once you're sure of it, you can go ahead and click confirm, and now we have our number. So now we have a number that we can utilize to send and receive messages to our clients and contacts and whomever we want to send speak messages to. The next recommended step will be to go and enable the integration with Redtail CRM. Now, if you're not a Redtail CRM user, you don't need to pay attention to this aspect of it, but one of the great features of Redtail Speak is that it does integrate with Redtail CRM. So we'll do that by going and clicking on the integrations button, and we'll be presented with a screen that shows Redtail CRM, and you'll see an enable button on the right side of the screen. We can click on that enable button, and you'll notice that now it goes to a word that says enabled with a green check mark. So we're good to go there. And the benefit of enabling this integration is that you can now have your Redtail CRM data to use for which client you want to send the message to, as well as it will sync updates. So if a client changes their phone number, if you get a new client, those will be synced into Redtail Speak, as well as all of the messages that you send or receive will be archived in their client record under the Speak History tab, which I will show later. Once the integration is established, if you're not a Redtail CRM user, it's important to establish other users of Redtail Speak. So if you're a Redtail CRM user, your users are already in there. So all the users that you have in the CRM will translate here to Redtail Speak. But if you're not a Redtail CRM user, you'll want to go ahead and add the other users. And we do that by clicking on the members button and navigating to the add member button. Click on the add member button, and we can choose, is this a member or an admin? The difference between a member and an admin is that an admin can do things like add additional users, as well as do some of the other features that we'll show in this settings area. If you want them to just purely be able to log in, send messages to other team members, and send messages to clients, then you don't need to give them the admin rights. But to establish a user, all it requires is a first name, last name, username, email, and password. Once you've filled out all that information, you can go ahead and add the member. One point of warning, the username is not editable, but the password is. So you can always do a temporary password that they can change, but the username is going to stay, so make sure it's one that they'll want to use. After we've added the team member, the next step that we want to do before we start texting clients is going to be our invite message. So if I look a little bit up on the left-hand side of the page, we'll see invite messages. So it is required that anytime you're sending messages to clients, that you send a message getting their permission to text them. So this is not a Redtail requirement. This is a standard requirement for businesses that want to text clients or prospects. And so within Redtail, you can customize what is said to a client. So you'll notice here in my database that I have an invite message. And you can see it currently reads, "You have been invited to text with your financial advisor. Please send the word yes if you would like to connect. Reply stop to unsubscribe." If I click edit here, you'll notice the only thing I'm able to edit is the "you have been invited to text with your financial advisor." That's because the second half of this message is required to stay there. The "please send a word yes if you would like to connect," and reply stop to unsubscribe. Those are the important instructions that we need from a contact to make sure that we can send them messages, as well as to make sure they always have an option to stop receiving messages. So that ending will always stay the same, but you can come in here and edit, and if you don't want to say you've been invited to text with your financial advisor, you could have something that says something like, "Hi, it's your advisor. This is a new tool that we have to allow us to text with you. So if you have any needs, you don't have to call us or email us. You can simply send us a text message." And then it would end with reply, "Please send the word yes if you'd like to connect. Reply stop if you want to subscribe." But you can customize this message, press save, and then you'll see the option to allow users to configure a personal invite message. If I check this box, you'll notice that I have an additional box here. This allows each user to have their own personal invite. If I uncheck this box, you'll notice it goes away. And what this means is that every user will have the same message for their invite message. So that's really a personal preference. Some groups will like to have a standard one that comes from all the staff members. Some might want a more personal one that allows the client or the contact that they're texting to know who is inviting them to text versus a generic one from the business as a whole. Again, this is your choice, and you can choose to pick whichever option you want. But now that we've got our phone number set up, our integration set up, our other team members enabled to access, and lastly, our invite message, now we can get into text messaging. Now we can get into the fun part. So if I go back to the home screen, and this is the page that we first landed on, you'll notice on the left-hand side, there's what looks to be like a pen and paper icon on the left-hand side. So I can go ahead and click on that icon, and you'll notice it says new message, and I can type a name, phone number, or email address to start a conversation with the client. And you'll notice that because I have it integrated with my CRM, there's a lot of names that already populate in here. If I'm not a CRM user, it's going to be important for me to start adding the contacts to my Speak database. And I can do that by clicking the Add Contact icon just to the right of the new message icon. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and I can add an individual. So I can come in here, we'll do Bruce, last name Wayne. I can pick a display name if I'd like. I can do a phone number, so we'll just do a random phone number here. And if you want to add an email address, you can. You can also add a time zone. But I'll go ahead and save this contact. And now you can see this contact is now someone that I can start a conversation with. And when you first start a conversation, you're not going to be able to type a message to them. And the reason for that is that I need to still send that invite message that we created. And that's simple enough. I can just hit this red button to send an invite. You'll notice it says invitation sent. Messaging will be enabled once Bruce Wayne accepts the invitation. Now, if you send out an invite and your client accidentally deletes it or doesn't remember to respond, you do have the ability to resend the invite. Now, we don't suggest doing it right away. Give it a little bit of time. Let them have a little bit of time to receive that message before you worry and send them another message. But once that client sends back the word yes, we can see Bruce just responded back yes, and now I have a message box where I can begin typing to send them a message. So I can say, "Hi, Bruce. Thanks for letting me text with you." So I can send that. Bruce is going to receive this message just like any other text message. And Bruce is also going to be able to respond just like any other text message. So there's no need for him to download an app. There's no need for him to do anything special. All he has to do is reply back yes, and now we can have a conversation just like I text with anybody else. And so you can see I got Bruce's response, and I can continue my dialogue for as long as I want to support this. Now, Bruce can always stop this conversation if he no longer wants to receive text messages. Maybe he's no longer a client, or maybe he just doesn't want to text anymore. I can also come up here to these three dots in the right corner and disband this conversation. So maybe they're no longer a client. Maybe I don't want to support texting anymore. I can always disband this for this client by clicking disband. Those messages will be saved, but if I want to restart conversation with Bruce, I'll have to go through the process of inviting Bruce again. Other features when I'm having a conversation with Bruce are I can add attachments. So there's a little click icon that we're used to seeing that I can click and pick something from my computer or my phone. There's also the ability to hit this emoji option and send an emoji just like we're used to with texting. And then there's this last option. So this last option is to utilize a template. If we're sending a lot of different text messages, there's going to be some messages that you might send on a regular basis. A good example of that might be instructions for when a client's coming in for a meeting. Maybe you live in maybe your office is in a place that's difficult parking wise, or there's multiple entry doors. And if it's their first time coming to the office, it may be good to send them a reminder. Also, there may be approved or non-approved parking. The last thing you want is your client's car to be towed while they're at your office. So there may be some normal instructions, or maybe some follow-up instructions that you like to do. And it'd be great to not have to type that out every single time. And that's where templates come in. So before I show using a template, I want to show where you can create them. So to create a template, I'll go up to the top right, click on Settings again, and you'll notice on the left side an option for Message Templates. Now I've already got some pre-created message templates, but I want to show you how to create one from scratch. And so I can come here to the Create Template option, give it a name. Maybe this is parking instructions. So I'm going to name it parking instructions, and maybe my message is dear, and I can use merge fields for this, or dear is probably not something we're used to doing in text messages, so I could just say contact's first name. So this will say, you know, John, Bruce, or Bruce in our case. Bruce, parking can be a bit crazy at the office. So I said, I put the contact's first name in so it's personalized, and then I said parking can be a bit crazy. Make sure to find one with a meter or white paint. And you can see sometimes we make text mistakes. So make sure you spell check and reread it to make sure that it has the message that you want. So, or white paint, our entrance is on the north side. So again, you may not have to send this to longtime clients who have been coming and visiting you, but you might have a new client that you want to give them those instructions. And rather than having to type that out every single time, you could just choose that template. So if I go back in there and I'm back in Bruce Wayne in my conversation, there's this page this icon that looks like a page, and I can click on that and see the various templates. So I could pick this parking instruction one. You'll notice that it already filled in Bruce, and I might want to add a comma, or I might want to add a little bit information. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. So I could say that, and I could send it. And so that was much quicker than me having to type that out. And especially if you have more instructions than that, this might be a great time saver. And there's unlimited number of uses that you could utilize templates for, all for the goal of saving you some time. Speaking of time, there's going to be times where you want to send a message that is going to go out in the future, but you don't want to have to remember to send that message in the future. A great example will be maybe you're on the phone with a client, you schedule a meeting with them, and you want to make sure that you send them a reminder for that meeting the day before. Now, if I'm scheduling something 6 months out, unless I happen to look at my calendar and see, okay, they're coming in tomorrow, I'll send them a text message reminding them, there's a good chance you forget. Also, if you have Monday meetings, you probably don't want to be checking your CRM and then sending out a bunch of appointment confirmation text messages on your Sunday night or Sunday afternoon. So, for this reason, we added the ability for you to schedule a text message to go out at a later time. So I can come here and say, Bruce, this is your reminder of our meeting tomorrow. And maybe I'm going to say July 11th at 12 p.m. So I could do this. This is just a simple reminder. But you'll notice once I type something in, I now have this clock option that's to the left of the attachments that I can click on. And I can pick when this message is going to go out. And so I can go out to July when the meeting's going to happen. He's coming in on the 11th, so I want this to go out on the 10th. That's a Sunday, so I don't want to have to remember to do this. And I'll do it 24 hours before the meeting, so I'll do it at 12 p.m. Confirms what time zone I'm in, and I can schedule this meeting. So this is going to go out at 12 p.m. Bruce's time, which is in Arizona, and you can see it says your next message will be sent July 10th at 12 p.m. And I can go ahead and click view all scheduled messages. So I've got one going to Bruce on the 10th. I've got another message going out to Anthony Donato on the 11th. And so I can see those messages that are scheduled to go out. And the great part is on that date, it's going to send it out, and I can sleep peacefully knowing I gave my client a heads up. There's a better chance that they're not going to forget that meeting. So scheduling messages can save you a lot of time and hopefully cut down on those missed meetings or people forgetting their time slot, being late to meetings. And you can schedule more than one message. So if you want to send one out 7 days before and one day before, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So this is something that I think is going to help a lot of people in a lot of different situations. Speaking of notifying people, Redtail Speak can notify you about messages. So obviously if I'm in here going back and forth with Bruce like I've been doing so far today, it's easy to see when Bruce responds. But what happens when I'm in the CRM or I'm on a completely different website or I'm checking my email and I start getting text messages? You can enable what we call browser notifications to give you little pop-ups that show when someone sends you a message. To set up these notifications, you'll go ahead and go to the top right and go to Settings, and you'll notice that there's a Notifications option. Now, notifications are going to be able to be set up per user, so each user can have different preferences. And you'll notice I have it checked for Enable Notifications. This means I'm going to receive a browser notification or a pop-up if I've been inactive for 30 minutes. And being inactive might be I haven't sent a message or navigated within Speak. There's a number of different ways that you can be inactive. I might be in another window, but I can decide what the threshold of inactivity is before I get that notification. And the reason we give you this preference is some people get annoyed by pop-ups and some find them very helpful. Whatever your preference is, you can have it within here. And again, this is with the intent that you don't miss messages and your response time stays up with clients that you're offering texting to. But we don't always want to be texting clients. I sure wouldn't want to. So I don't want to be texting all hours of the day. I want my vacations to be peaceful. I don't want to have to be responding to a bunch of text messages while I'm out laying on a beach somewhere. So what we added for that is the ability to set up out of office. So if I go back to my settings, I'm going to go ahead and find the out of office reply. So I can go ahead and check this box to send out of office reply, and I can choose how long I want this on. If I don't check this box of clear after, my out of office is just going to stay on indefinitely until I come back in here and uncheck that box. Now, if I know I'm only going to be gone for a week and I don't want to forget to have to remove this, I could say clear after, and I could put till Sunday evening, or maybe I want to do it Monday morning. So we'll do Monday morning at 7 a.m. So if anybody texts me from now until Monday, January 17th at 7 a.m., they're going to get this message below. I'm out of the office the rest of the day. My hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Please reach back out during normal business hours. Now, I'm on vacation, so I don't want to have it say this, so I can edit this to say something different. I can say, I am out on vacation. I will return Monday, January 17th at 7 a.m. And I could say, for immediate assistance, call Rick or email staff at redtailtechnology.com. Or maybe we'll put support. So we'll do that. So I can save that. So now if anybody texts me between now and Monday, they're going to get this message. Again, you can customize, change this as often as you'd like. You can turn it on, turn it off as frequently as you want. Some people might do it all the time, so even on their lunch break. Others might do it just between the end of the day and the start of the day. Whatever your preference is, you can choose when you want to be available and when you want people to get this out of office reply. Once I navigate away from here, you'll notice since I left my out of office on, in the top right, it now gives me a signal that I'm out of office. This is meant to remind you, just in case you get back and you forget to turn it off, you'll see it reminding you there in the top right that your out of office is on. So I can go ahead and come back to settings and switch that off and press save. So now that out of office disappears and people can text me again. Now, Redtail Speak isn't just great for messaging clients. It's also great for inter-team communication. So on the left side of the screen, we've been talking mostly about texting, which is the first tab, but we also have this team tab that allows us to text other staff members. So you'll notice our direct messages that I have with Paul, Tucker, John, and Mary, but I also have channels. Channels you can create. So by default, you'll just have general, but you can create extra channels. So if I wanted to create a channel, I'd hit that plus button, and I could say maybe I want a compliance channel. So I could create that, and now I have a channel just dedicated to compliance. Now, right now, it's just me in this channel, so there's not a whole lot going on, but maybe I want to add other people to this. I can do that. So once you add people to this, you can start to have group conversations. You can decide who's in this room, who doesn't need to be in this room. And again, you can have as many group conversations as you'd like. Direct messages are they're always gonna be one-to-one. So this is always gonna be just me and Paul talking. No one else can join our direct conversation. If I wanna have a conversation with Paul, myself, and someone else, that's where I would go back to a channel and add those people to have that conversation. All these messages within our direct messages, our channels, as well as the texting messages we referenced before, are things that I can search. So I'm just going to use the word meeting, and I can see all the different times that meeting has come up in conversation. So I can see it highlighted, as well as you'll notice whenever I hover over anything, it gives me the option to show context, which allows me to jump straight to where that conversation is, and I can see, okay, this was when this message happened, here was the context of it. So it makes it really easy to figure out where something is and in what context it was said. Again, you can search a word, you can search a phrase, and it'll look throughout all those messages. Also, Redtail CRM users have the benefit of Speak messages integrating with their CRM. So here back in Redtail CRM, this should look familiar if you're a CRM user. You'll notice I'm on Jacob's record, and I can scroll down on the bottom left and find Speak History. And I will see the most recent messages at the top, and I can scroll down and see any messages I previously sent with Jacob. And again, this happens automatically in real time. As I send those messages, they are automatically attached to the client record in the CRM. We do this obviously to allow you to have that convenience of being able to see your text messages, your emails, your notes all in one place, but also we do it from a compliance standpoint. So Redtail archives all your messages in a way that is worm compliant, so no one can edit or delete those messages. We can also journal those messages to third-party compliance tools such as Smarsh or Global Relay, so that you can stay within compliance whether you're at a broker-dealer or you're an RIA that manages your compliance in another tool. Whatever your setup, we can help support that and set up journaling. If you're interested in that, definitely talk to someone on our sales team, and we'll happy to explain exactly how that works and get that set up for you. Finally, text messaging is meant to be on the go. I think most of us do it from our phones. So with that in mind, Redtail developed our Speak mobile app. It's available on the Google Play Store or within your Apple App Store for you to download. It allows you to do pretty much everything that I showed you here today from your phone. So if you're on the go, you can continue to text with clients through the Speak app. You'll also get push notifications on your phone. So when someone sends you a message, if you have the app on your phone, you'll get a little pop-up notification just like when someone sends you a text message. All of this is to make it easy for you as you're on the go to be able to respond to clients' text messages and provide that extra level and that improved client experience. That's going to do it for Redtail Speak demo today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it answered a lot of your questions. If you have more questions or you'd like to sign up, feel free to give us a call. The number is 800-206-5030. Press option 2 for sales, or you can send us an email to sales@redtailtechnology.com. To view more recordings or to get help on Redtail Speak, we have our help site, help.redtailtechnology.com, and you can search for Redtail Speak information. You're also welcome to give our support team a call at 800-206-5030, option 3. Thank you for attending, and have a great day.